with coverage you can count on. This is the Erie News NOWCAST.
All right, thanks for joining us here on this Wednesday morning as we get you a mid-morning check of some of the stories we are following here at Erie News Now. We call it the NOWCAST. Want to begin out in Kenosha, Wisconsin, where that Wisconsin jury that's deliberating the fate of Kyle Rittenhouse is about ready to get back to work. They're heading into that panel's second day of trying to decide if the 18-year-old is a cold-blooded killer or perhaps someone who feared for his life when he shot two people to death last year out in Kenosha. Now, even before the jury gets back to work, folks on both sides of the verdict fence, so to speak, they gathered outside of that Kenosha courthouse, and it got pretty tense at times. Some 500 National Guard troops now on standby in that Kenosha area. Rittenhouse facing 5 felony charges, again, for killing those two, also seriously wounding another in that gunfire at a protest that followed the police shooting of a black man out in Kenosha last year. Elsewhere this morning, COVID-19 cases are on the rise in more than 20 states as we get this Wednesday rolling, and at the same time, the push to allow more Americans to get a booster shot of the vaccines picking up steam. An advisory panel set to meet this coming Friday to talk about expanding that booster shot eligibility to all adults. That means those shots could be available across the country as early as this weekend. And just the past week, a number of states, California, New Mexico, Colorado on the list, they all okayed those booster shots. New York City made a similar move, but it's just not a federal policy at this point. Now, the CDC's official recommendation could come on the heels of that Friday meeting. Well, here in Pennsylvania, a new ruling from a state judge could mean a sooner-than-expected end to the state's mask mandate for schools. The ruling reverses an earlier court decision that would have kept the school masking mandate in place as long as the whole thing is being appealed. Governor Wolf's administration says they put that mask order in place out of concern that the new school year would give the virus a new chance to flourish. And yeah, you could say that's what's happening in our area. We do have a list of about a dozen schools here at home that have had to shift to remote learning. We can take a look at that list. It's a pretty extensive one. The Wattsburg district has all of their schools through elementary up through the high school level shut down. And yeah, a number of schools all around the area impacted by these virus outbreaks. And quickly want to remind you about the drop-off locations for the ongoing Erie News Now food drive. We kicked it off at 6 o'clock this morning, our team effort with the Second Harvest Food Bank to collect food and cash donations. Again, all of these drop-off spots across Northwest Pennsylvania runs until 6:30 tonight, and you can check out these locations in detail by heading to erienewsnow.com. Not too bad as far as the weather goes for all our volunteers who are spending the day outside collecting those donations.
Yeah, we have a lot of clouds around, but temperatures are warming on up right now. Maybe a little spritz in the air, a little shower, a very, very brief shower. That's all we are seeing for today. 55 degrees right now with our Erie Institute of Technology camera. We'll keep those bars green. We'll keep things A-OK this afternoon. Right now, temperatures are in the 40s and 50s, a little bit cooler towards Bradford and Jamestown, but you guys will continue to warm up as we do have a bit of a south wind right now up to about 20 miles per hour near the lake shore. And you can see that mainly just clouds around the area, but potentially a spotty shower as we do move forward. Futurecast continues to show just a few little flicks of green on the map there as we get later on into the evening hours. Still looking quiet. It's later on in the night. Cold front comes on in, and then rain becomes fairly widespread as we go through your Thursday morning. Temperatures also coming down as well. Later in the day, things try to settle down a bit more, but then the lake effect starts to set up. Initially more of a westerly wind, then it turns a bit more to the northwest, and so that's going to allow for snow to accumulate back into the snow belt as we finish out the working week. In terms of snowfall, this is just a computer model right here. You can see where it does indicate some of those higher totals from Edinburgh back there towards Corey Clymer as well as Jamestown, but I think this model just kind of highlighting the areas that will likely see at least a few inches of snow. I think it will be more than 1 or 1.5 inches as indicated by this model. Hey, we'll talk more about the forecast looking ahead in just one moment.
And we have a Thanksgiving tradition now as we get, 8 days away from the holiday, one that's still going strong here in 2021. This one involves two former strangers who met 5 years ago after an accidental dinner invitation. Yeah, you probably heard about Wanda Dench. Thought she was sending that text, a dinner invite text to her grandson, but turns out he had changed his number. Again, this is all several years ago, but Jamal Hinton got the message instead. And the two eventually figured out it was a mistake, sent selfies to one another, and that's when Hinton asked if, hey, he could still come over to Wanda's home in Mesa, Arizona. And Dent said, yes, of course. That's what grandmas do. They feed everyone. So yeah, that holiday tradition that started several years ago continues here in 2021. It's now in year number 6. And they look like they've been family members for their whole life, the way they get along at that dinner table. And as we count down to Thanksgiving, looks like we've got some changes in that 7-day forecast.
Yeah, today we're up there into the upper 50s, lower 60s. I think we get to 62 here in Erie. Now tonight, that's when that cold front moves on in. Temperatures will take a pretty dramatic drop once that front does hit, and we'll just hang out in the 40s as we go through the day on a Thursday. But we're expecting generally just rain showers. It's later on into the night. Early on Friday, that's when we could get a little bit of that lake effect snow. I think we're not going to really see much along the lake shore. Temperatures up into the lower 40s. Pretty quiet on Saturday. Great news because Santa arrives, and we also have the polar plunge, which obviously, regardless of the conditions, it's going to be cold out there, but we are looking good. Next week, though, a more potent storm system Monday into Tuesday. That's worth watching. That could certainly bring us some more widespread lake effect snow chances, but that is still 6-7 days out. In the meantime, yeah, even over the next few days, a lot's happening, a lot of ups and downs in the forecast.
All right, thank you, David. We'll have live updates from our food drive collection spots in Warren County and Crawford County. That's coming up on our next full over-the-air broadcast. 30 minutes of news headed your way at noon on WSCE. And we'll be back on the air at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, that Thursday edition of Erie News Now Sunrise. We'll see you then.